Buying a home? Don't panic. Just listen to the rest of this podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Home Inspection Authority's Straight Talk Podcast with me, John Laforme. I'm a CREIA certified home inspector from Los Angeles, California, and the topics we discuss on this podcast are about buying homes, selling homes, inspecting homes. So if you're a home inspector, home buyer, real estate professional, this podcast is definitely for you. Okay, so we are now recording. I am in full Patriots and Red Sox gear, and I'm joined by my cousin on the East Coast. This is a East Coast special edition episode of the podcast, and this is Susan Ducharme. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Ducharme with the Boston accent, you know, the Boston accent. How you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good. So yeah, full disclosure, we are related.
Yes, we are.
Susan is a realtor in Mass and in New Hampshire, right?
Correct.
Cool. And so today's episode, we're just going to be a couple of massholes talking here. I know you're nervous right now, and I'm going to shake it out of you. Just relax.
Okay.
We're just having fun. So, I all these years of, living in Massachusetts, I've been in California now for, I think 32 years. I've been out here for quite some time. And I did not have my own Patriot shirt. So my friend George, we went to school in Beverly, Mass. And last October, when the Pats were playing the LA Chargers, he said, "Hey man, I'm taking you to the game." I'm like, "Oh shit, no way! You guys are coming to LA?" So two other guys from Boston that I never met before came out with him, and he was in Vegas at the time, so he doesn't live on the East Coast anymore. So those guys flew out, and the three of them took his RV out here to LA. They found a campground and everything, and then we got together for the game. And I didn't have a shirt, and all those guys had all this gear on, and I'm like, "Oh shit, maybe I'll buy something there." They don't sell any Patriot shit at a Chargers game. They don't have anything there, so I'm like, "Oh man, I can't represent." But at the same time, I'm also a Chargers fan, so I was like, "What do I do?" So I didn't have anything, and my sister Cheryl, the biggest Patriots fan on the planet. So I let her know that I was at the game. She goes, "Where the hell's your shirt? How come you don't have a shirt on?" I said, "I don't have one." She goes, "Jesus Christ." She was just like, it was so funny. Her response was pretty funny. So Teresa, my better half, she bought me this for Christmas.
Oh, there you go. So now you are all set.
Now I have one. And my mom got me this hat. This is the 2013 championship. So my mom bought a whole bunch of these hats, and she mailed it out to me here in California, and all that hat. She was all proud, Aunt Terry, she's all into that stuff, all big time.
Yep, that they are.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So that's why I have all this gear on. I thought it'd be appropriate to do this, and I see you're also in costume, and you got your Bruins on. Are you a Bruins fan?
I am a Bruins fan. I am in costume, but I have to be truthful. I don't have gear either. So this came out of my husband's closet.
There you go. Yeah, I don't run around.
You have to share things.
Yeah. I don't run around with a lot of sports gear on typically. But hey, I love football and I love hockey. And I've been to a Bruins game over here in LA. I've been to some LA Kings games and stuff. So those are pretty cool. Pretty cool. Have you been to a hockey game recently?
Recently, probably want to say 3 or 4 years ago. That's as recent. I'm old school hockey. So your Cam Neely, your Sweeneys, your Borks.
Okay.
Those are the fighting machines. Yeah, that's what I like about it.
The
now
goons.
It just seems like everybody's just blowing whistles and stopping the fights and just let them go at it. That's the best part of the game.
Yeah. We're living in a different world now, man. Everything's changed. Yeah, the old, knuckles in the face type shit. But back then, I don't think they had helmets either, right?
No, but it's all politically correct, right?
Yeah.
Now we have to be politically correct. You got to
Not
dress the right way, have
not
all the equipment on.
not on this show. We're not going to be
Just
politically
beat the
correct
crap
on this
out of
show.
each other.
We can beat the crap out of each other verbally here, so don't worry about it. You can say whatever you want to me. It's all good.
No, I'm not going to be mean.
Right. So the purpose of the podcast with you today was to talk about my recent real estate transaction over there in New Hampshire. And I don't know, have you ever wondered why I asked you to be my realtor?
Yes, remember I asked you.
Did you wonder why?
Yeah,
What'd I tell you?
did.
What'd I tell you?
You said because you followed me, you've been watching me, seeing the strength, seeing the numbers, knowing that I know my property, I know how to sell properly, have the techniques, and I'm just like you, ruthless.
Yeah.
So we are officially mass hoes, but don't live in Mass anymore.
That's right.
I'm over the border.
Yeah, you're over the border in NH now, right?
Yeah, I'm over here in New Hampshire, so building here, but very interesting to see the difference between Mass and New Hampshire, because there is a difference. But, still the power of having both states in your back pocket, which is nice.
No, I think that's great. They're a little diverse there. You can, it's not like you're traveling 5 hours. It's like a 20-minute drive back and forth across the state border. But the main reason I hired you to be my realtor is because you're a bulldog. And you just don't take no shit from anybody. And the reason why I know that is because over the years of me owning that property, I've asked you for help several times with, referring me to some contractors or some, whatever. And you are always like, yeah, use this guy. And just, and I could tell just by the way you responded to me. I was like, she's not going to put up with any nonsense. So,
no.
So the property that you sold for me, I want to go through that process from the beginning with you because it was quite overwhelming. And, my reason for selling that was very sporadic. Like I had no intention of selling that property in the near future. And then all of a sudden I had to do this major repair, just replacing 2 water heaters. And I paid like $4,000. And I'm like, what the hell? $4,000 for 2 water heaters? And I called many people and I finally had an old high school friend go over there and do it. And that was the best price he could give me because of all the work he had to do to the tank. Because New Hampshire is very specific on the piping and how you pipe it in and all the extra valves it needs. And I don't have the details of what they had to put on that thing, but I saw the finished product and I could see what they meant by, all the extra bells and whistles it needed to conform to New Hampshire's building codes and stuff like that.
Yeah, the guidelines are.
Yeah, so it was, and it kind of woke me up a little bit. Like, you know what? A lot of the systems on that house are getting to that age point where, like the roofing, the heating and cooling systems were starting to get older. And I'm a home inspector, as you know, so it's like I see this stuff every day, and I kind of have a good idea of what these costs add up to be. And I was like, I don't feel like spending all that money on this property in the next 5 years. The next 10 years, within 10 years from now, I'll probably be retired. So I was like, I had to really think about that. And I was like, man, what do I do? So let's call Susan and see what she says.
Which I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you were. You probably were shocked when I first mentioned that because, but I called you first because I know you'd have your finger on the pulse of what's going on over there with the market. And I'm like, man, because I was just like, all the homes I inspect right now here in Cali are way overpriced. So I wasn't sure if that was the case over there. So that kind of got me really thinking, like, okay, so what is going on here? Is it just my area? LA is enormous. Los Angeles is enormous. There's so many houses here. It's crazy. And So I had to ask you, hey, what's going on? I mean, how much do you think this thing would sell for right now? Is there a demand for it? Now I'll let you talk. You tell me what you told me.
A demand. You're in the area exactly what they're looking for. You had the multifamily. You kept it well kept. It was organized. It was controlled, even though you were 1,000 miles away. 3,000.
3,000 miles away.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to have a handle on that, we have people that live in Massachusetts that are landlords, and they can't even come over the border to fix something. It's just, there's so many scum landlords in this world. It's like disgusting. So
yeah.
One of the things that impressed me was because over the years, you and I have talked about this, and you would call me and say, well, what's my house worth? And I'd say, oh, you can get this range to this range. And you go, there's no way. And I'd say, yeah, there is. But, oh, by the way, you're still charging your tenants a little less than you should. Have I not told you that many times?
You have told me that. And my dad started that, and I had to catch up when I took over that
you
property.
Just had to jump that leap at the beginning. And that's what I told you. But needless to say, the person's getting the price now, aren't they?
Yeah. My tenants, I don't think they appreciated me that much, but now they really do. Now that I'm no longer their landlord.
Yeah. They wish John was back in the picture, but one of his tenants is the one that really got him on the bandwagon of selling. Because, it is kind of hard being 3,000 miles away and trying to take care of something. Whether I'm here, call me 6-hour difference. In 6 hours, 1 hour can make a huge difference of a water leak or something happening.
Yep.
So I think, for the property, the condition, everything timing was perfect for you in the area, location-wise. It is a great location.
Yep.
But just amazing what they can sell for. And I know giving numbers to you was shocking.
Yeah.
You were floored.
I was like, what would you list this as? And you were like, oh, well, let's just start at 360 and then see what happens. And that's what you did.
And you were afraid.
Yeah. I was like, because it was a big decision, because like I said, I had no previous interest in getting that was going to be part of my retirement, hey, hang on to this property for as long as I can. But then when I realized how much it went up in value already, that was like, well, if you're going to list it at 360, I'm sure it's going to come in. I'm going to get offers way higher than 360, so I was like, well, it was just a matter of what works for me at the time. What wasn't going to work for me is having to spend $40,000 to $60,000 over the next 10 years replacing those systems, which I really did not want to do. That was not in my overall picture of keeping that property, like I mentioned. And then when you said, let me back up a little bit. So when, like I mentioned in Cali, the houses here that I inspect, I can't believe what they're getting for these houses. These are basic houses that are probably 1,500 square feet, and they're getting 900,000 without even blinking an eye. And then there's multiple offers, and these people are fighting over this stuff. I'm getting phone calls. Hey, John, can you do an inspection tomorrow? I'm like, no, I can't get out there that fast. Well, we only have a 3-day inspection contingency period. I'm like, why did you agree to that? So it makes me think, wow, it's holy shit. Am I missing out on something? I had as I get all these phone calls every day and all these like almost demands for my service or requests, it's like, what's going on here? Is there a reason why people absolutely positively have to buy a house today? That's the part I don't get. And I really look at these, my customers like, why do you have to have a house today? Why can't you wait? What is the rush? What's wrong with renting? I mean, for a little while until you get what you want. You know what I mean? I mean, why force yourself into this this bad predicament, like rushing your inspections, not getting all the answers and the cost estimates for what it's going to cost to fix these things? Because trust me, none of these houses were in great shape. I mean, I spent hours on these reports. It's just ridiculous. A lot of these homes were built in 1920. I mean, they had all kinds of problems. And the flippers out here, most of the flippers in Cali that I've come across, they should be ashamed of themselves. It's horrible the work they do. And so anyway, getting back to the sale, I had to consider all that stuff, all this information. So I think I had a good background to really think this through. Like I had a lot of experience dealing with this every day. So that's why I had to get you on the phone and go, hey, what's going on over there? What can we do? And like you mentioned, we listed it. And then so now I want to ask you, because you'll remember this better than me, because you were there. By the way,
you made it simple. I was there day and night.
Yes, you made it simple for me. I didn't have to fly out there and nothing. You did everything with JL Sweeney, the attorney, and you made it very convenient and very simple, which I really want to thank you again for, because that was awesome that I didn't have to take time away from work and fly out there and spend money on airplane tickets and traveling and all that nonsense. I honestly don't like traveling. I'm not a big fan of travel. So thank you again for that.
You're losing your pay also traveling. And
you lose. Yeah.
Part of your service as being a realtor, you have to understand when you're working with people that are relocated from another state, another country. I've worked from other countries too. You have to have a pocket full of everybody in your backing to help these people. If you don't, they're at a whim trying to figure something out, whether it's 3,000 miles or 10,000 miles away. Am I making the right decision? At the end of the day, I want to make sure all my customers know that I know what I'm doing here and you're comfortable to stay at home. If you choose to come, that's your choice.
Right.
But at the end of the day, why leave your job when I can sell your house, get the money in your account, and you just keep on living? Because do you really want to come back? There's a lot of things that take a factor when you're looking into selling long distance and understanding the cost that it entails for the seller to come here or the buyer. And if they come here, you better make sure you're giving them everything when they're here.
Right.
Because they don't want to hear on the phone, well, we have this issue, and they go, oh, do I got to fly out again? That means you're not qualified as an agent. And I'm sorry. There are agents out here that are fly-by-nights, think that they can do half-ass shit like in a matter of seconds. And, I'll just slap a sign up and put it on Zillow and, hey, we're good to go. It's not what it's about. A multifamily, you respect the tenants and you respect the seller. And it really is a pet peeve of mine when they have a lockbox on the door and everybody's welcomed. No, everybody isn't welcomed. These are tenants in the home. Can we have a little respect? But I must say, through the process, the biggest thing that I do work with is keeping tenants in a home for a new landlord.
That's a good point.
And that's a big factor. That's a big factor because there are a lot of people that convince their landlords, get rid of them. It's much easier to sell an empty place. So you want vandalism. Let's start thinking about the big picture. Why does a landlord or a seller have to lose income just to sell their house? Do you move out of a single property just to sell your house? No. It comes down to the burden of proof of when the agent goes in and they do their job properly. And when they do it, the seller reaps a benefit, and a lot of times the tenants do. Your case study was one of the top, considering you had a 2-family, which is a multifamily. I've done anywhere from 6 and 8 multifamilies and had tons of showings. I do my showings personally. Okay. A lot of agents don't like that. I am very old school. I am the only one that knows this house inside and out. And as a buyer coming in, they're asking that question. And what is their buyer agent doing? They're looking for a paycheck. They only care about getting you in and out. And in 15 minutes, do you think they really have done the details? I'm amazed how many of them don't call and ask me about the house. It's like they say, I'm going to send my client to you. Go ahead. I'll just take them next time they want to buy something. It's like,
let me jump in real quick. What you're referring to are the absentee realtors. That's what I call them.
Oh, yes.
The absentee realtors. And I want to put it out there for anybody considering buying a home. I know we all like to get referrals from our friends, and that's great. But I want to just touch on something that I actually experienced back in 2007 when I sold a house that I was living in. I had a 4,500 square foot house on an acre of land. It was worth a lot of money, and I just got tired of taking care of this big house. So I just decided, I just want to move into something a bit smaller. I was over it. So I started. My brother Lenny actually came out from Vegas, and because he was a realtor in Vegas at the time. I said, Len, come on out, because I want you to help me interview a couple of realtors in my area. So he came out, and we made some appointments. We had two appointments set up. The first guy that came by, I could tell I didn't like him as soon as he walked through the door. I could just tell he was a douche. You know what I mean? And he was just total douchebag. I'm like an LA douchebag to be more precise. And if you live out here, you know what I'm talking about. So he comes in and he's walking around like some hot shot, like he was like Tom Cruise of real estate. You know what I mean? That's how it is out here. It's kind of funny. And I'm like, so yeah, what do you think? So he walks around the house, looks like, oh yeah, I could definitely sell this for you. I'm like, yeah, I bet you could sell this for me. I bet you I could sell it too. But I invited you over to tell me what you think you would sell it for. That's what I want to know. What number do you think I should sell this for? I didn't give him a number. I didn't tell him what I was hoping to get for it. I said, I want to know what you're going to try to do for me. He goes, oh yeah, I could definitely sell this, 1.7 million. I'm like, wow, really? He's like, yeah, 1.6, 1.7. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, that's great. You have a nice day. See you later. Okay, so we send him on his way. My brother was laughing. Lenny's like, holy shit, man, that guy's an idiot. So then we call the second appointment we had was a woman this time. And she comes in and she really took the time to look at everything. She spent 30 minutes walking around. We just left her alone. Mm-hmm. She comes back and she goes, you really did a nice job remodeling this house. And I was like, because I did. From 2001 to 2006, I pretty much remodeled every section of the house. And I spent good money on it, and it was high quality materials, not like cheap baseboards. It was all poplar. It was all expensive stuff. So I know how much money I had into it, and I had a number in my head, how much I wanted to sell it for. And she goes, I'm thinking 2 million. I'm like, yeah, I was thinking about 2.1, something like that. She goes, yeah, I could probably see right around there. So me and my brother looked at each other, and that's the realtor we wanted. So the other guy was a volume guy. And the reason why I'm talking about this is to let the people listening know, maybe your potential future customers or anybody else listening's future customers. If you're looking to buy a house, you need to interview your realtor to see where their head's at. Anybody can sell a house, but are they going to fight to get you top dollar and get the right buyers in there? And you and I will touch on that, because my first offer was a problem. We'll get into that.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, I'm just that was a real life experience for me. And I mean, that guy was almost 400,000 less than what I wound up selling it for. Sure, I could have said yes to him right away, but I would have lost out on all that money if I didn't do my research and do my due diligence and just ask around and get a second opinion. We didn't get a third person because I just felt really good about her. She seemed like a honest, and she was, by the way, she was, she lived in that neighborhood, so she knows the houses. And that's another important point for anybody who's considering finding a realtor. Make sure that realtor understands what you're after. I see this every day. People call me, hey, can you come inspect my 1916 house? Sure. I'm like, wow, it's probably got a brick foundation. I guess I'll let them know when I get there.
Yeah.
And then I tell the realtor, and the realtor goes into shock. Like, what do you mean a brick foundation? I'm like, you're not aware that a house this old probably has a brick foundation. There's a good chance it has a brick foundation. It varies. Different houses have different things, but in that era, it's not uncommon and to find that in Cali. So anyway, there's a lot to be considered. Don't just rush into an agreement with somebody because your best friend said, "Oh, they were great." How do you know they were great? Did you get your friend top dollar, or did they just do a volume thing? So you don't want a volume realtor because they're just going to get your house sold to the first bidder or whatever. You know what I mean? That's important. So continue.
And that's all they want. Yeah. They just want the numbers. They don't care. In Hatton, I want to say more than 90% agents currently do not do their own open houses. I do mine. Why? That seller trusts me, told me everything. I've walked that house. I've done everything in that house. I have notes top to bottom. I know my notes in my head. I don't have a notepad with me. I'm walking hands-free, talking to them. So we're having a conversation. So these people watching me know that I have the information. It's correct. And we're talking about the house. It's not about the house down the road, but I will also throw in little areas of that house down the road, it sold for this amount. The one over here sold for this. When I do my first, like when you called me, when you said, okay, I'm thinking about selling, I scouted out that whole area. So when I sat down with you over the phone, we talked about stuff. I told you about houses that closed. I also said to you, you most likely will see these houses on the appraisals that come through when they have their appraisal. And rightfully so, the one that bought it was one that bought off. It was their number one on the appraisal, was their own house that they just bought down the road. You have to know the house that you're selling. So, making sure that everyone understands that we're in this together, that's the biggest thing. When people go into a home, think about when you go into a home and you're looking at something, whether you're looking to buy it. This is the biggest item, one of the biggest items they're going to buy. Okay.
Biggest investment.
So let's be real with this.
Yeah.
It's the biggest item. Okay.
Yep.
So let's be real and respect them. Okay. They're not a number. They're not, I just got to get $1. They need to know what they're buying at the same time. You have to have the same respect for your seller to make sure they get the most money. You might have the greatest couple that walks through. They're just starting out. They have a great baby. Everything's wonderful. This neighborhood be great. But guess what? Someone that's downsizing is willing to pay your seller more. You have to have that respect. Now, the stories like you and I have experienced when we were selling, I would go back each time after I did X amount of showings, and to say we did 123 showings in 2 days, and both days was 2 hours scheduled, ended up being 3 hours a day. So 6 hours, we did 122 viewings, and that wasn't even an open house one. So we had coming through the door that I personally talked to, walked through, and made sure they understood what has gone on in this home from when the beginning to where it was at that time.
Right.
And that's something that you need to know. So if you are going into homes with buyers, I look to see, what did this person buy this home like? They may still have the blue bathroom that was there. I will pull those pictures up and show my buyer, hey, look, they've done nothing to that bathroom. So guess what? Those tiles on the wall could potentially have asbestos in them. Mm-hmm. And they look at you like, oh, what's that? Well, let's talk about it. Let's go in the basement. The nice little rose that's in the middle of the floor. Oh, isn't that pretty in the tile? Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
If you want asbestos and you want this and you want horsehair, people don't talk about it. They just talk about the pretty walls. Yep. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of them do. But as a home inspector, I can tell you, my home inspectors taught me a lot of stuff. So when I was going through the process, when I first started, I really just took notes and I would ask them questions.
Yes, let's stop right there. Hang on. That's a great point. That's a great point, because it's really, there's so much lack of training with realtors in regards to what the home inspector's job is and is not. There's a lot that's outside the scope of a home inspector. And I really appreciate it when a realtor goes, "Hey, John, I don't know about this. Can you fill me in?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm always happy to help." But when they just ignore shit and just blow it off and just, oh, really? Oh, yeah. Well, they're not worried about that. I'm like, well, no, it sounds like you're not worried about that. Like, I guarantee if the customer was in front of me, you wouldn't be saying that. And that's the shit that happens.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so true because, when I first started on early ages and I had some home inspectors and I would go through and they'd be like, "Oh, don't worry about that." I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of concerned and I'm not buying this house and living here." That told me right then and there, you know what? This inspector isn't for everybody. There are fly-by-night agents that love them, and that's okay. Yeah. You can be a fly-by, just give who you want, be a fly-by inspector, be a fly-by appraiser. That's fantastic. But you know what? Let's get to the real super nuts because these people are living in this house and it's your name at the end of the day because you sold them the shitty house that's leaking now, and now they have mold and their kid's sick. So when you start talking to people like that, they start to listen to you. So I learned that from my home inspector and I took notes and I understood. The funny thing is when my clients will go to the home inspection, the inspector will start talking. I work with a specific company. They're top on list. I have other ones too, but they'll say, my clients will all of a sudden start laughing. And they're going, "Okay, Sue's already told you all this." And they're like, "Yeah, they already told us this. But she told us we had to pay for you because you have to write it down for me." And he's like, "Correct." And then you climb the roof where Sue's not gonna. But you know what? And you know what? I'm an agent. I am not a home inspector. I am not an appraiser. And there are too many agents that think they're a home inspector and think they're an appraiser.
I know.
And then all of a sudden, when the home inspector goes in and something is wrong, they go, "Oh, no, there's nothing wrong because, Mary told me that it's this." "Oh, yeah, good for Mary. Does she have a home inspector license?" And that's what I say directly to them. "Good. I'm glad you're a list agent. You got your inspector license too?" Because just tell me right now, because if you do, I want to know what you inspected in this house.
Right.
So people are passing up inspections. I do not believe in it. I do not believe in it. I will tell my clients, no, to win something, we're not in competition. This isn't a game. This isn't croquet. Let's just roll the dice and figure out what we're going to get. No, I don't want to know a year from now you have cancer because mold was growing somewhere. We can sit here and we can joke about it, but let's get real.
Yeah.
Because there are too many agents out here that think they're far more than just the agent scope.
Yeah.
And that's the most frustrating part.
Yeah. The people just don't know how to stay in their own lane. So, when I'm doing an overview after I just inspected a house and the realtor is there or usually it's the listing agent that I have to say this to because sometimes the listing agents will be there and I'm okay with that as long as they just zip it and just let me talk. But then they'd be like, "Oh, well, really? The roof's bad?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." Then they look shocked. I'm like, "Oh, so when you inspected it, it was in good shape?" That's what I say to them. So my point is, why are you shocked if you didn't do a pre-listing inspection? Why are you so shocked because I just told you something wasn't in good condition? I don't understand the shock and awe. It just what makes you think that the house you're selling is perfect? It's not. None of them are perfect. I see brand new construction that is just a mess. I mean, it's crazy the shit that they do and they get away with. The building inspectors drive by in their car and wave. They don't even come in. It seems like they don't even come in the house and take a look around. So my message to realtors is just simply this: be prepared. Research the house that your client's trying to buy. If it's an early construction house, like, 1800s, 1900s, late 18, early 1900s, you really need to understand that you are walking into a foundation that is probably over 100 years old. There's going to be problems. Why? Because all these years that have gone by, no one's paid attention to the foundation. It's just people that live in houses are not supposed to know how to build a house. We should be taught how to live in a house at school, I think. We should know how to check for a leak under a sink in school. There's things that they should have taught us in school about houses because you know what? We're giving you kids an education And then hopefully you're going to get a job when you get out of school. And then with that job, you're going to make money. And then you're going to experience the American dream. You're going to buy your own house. You're going to live in your own house, but they don't teach you that in school. Isn't that kind of weird? I think that's kind of strange. Yeah. Now that I'm in my 50s, I look back on that and I go, wow, that would have been some good information, like, financial information. Like, if you save your money, you can buy yourself a nice house. And like, maybe nowadays they're doing that. I don't know.
No,
but
no.
Yeah. So you have a daughter that's in school.
I got a child in high school.
Yep.
No, it's not. It's still the same. It's
right.
People don't understand. People don't even know about a fieldstone. Come on. I mean, how do you not know what a fieldstone is when you ask? I mean, I'm amazed when I ask my clients, do you have a fieldstone? Is it a block? Is it a cinder block? Is it? And they look at me and go, well, it's cement. Okay, we have cement ones too. So did you get redone? And then they look at you like,
yeah,
I don't know what it is. So you got to go downstairs, right. And then they're like,
sure.
How do you know this? I'm like, because this is my job.
Yeah.
To understand.
Shocking.
It's, and what's the dead giveaway? Everything's on a pallet on the floor and everything's up in the air. Oh, do you think they have a leak? Oh, no, they never had a leak. Oh, so they just have everything up just in case they have a leak.
Right.
It's just too many things that people are just too busy and want the money and don't want to learn. And that's one of the biggest pet peeves I have with agents out here, that what can I get from this? How fast can I sell this? How much can I get my numbers to get to my next bonus level, and just keep on going now? And that's not what it's about, because these people are buying a mess, and we better make sure they know structural. How many walls do you see, John, that are taken down that the list agent, I see sagging in the ceiling? And I'm like, was there a wall here? I don't know. I said, okay. So I said to my clients, let's walk over this till you feel the little hump. There's the dead giveaway. And you drag your feet and you feel the hump. Why? Because I was taught that.
Yeah.
And then when you say to the list agent, no, there wasn't a wall here, you go back several times, and I've done this in Hampton, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful house. Big hole, like in the walls, buckling out. And I'm like, there was a wall here. Oh no, she's fighting with me. I'm like, okay. So I came home and I pulled up the previous before this homeowner purchased, and there was a wall there. So I sent it to the agent. I said, just so you want to know, in case you get sued on this house, here's the old listing. There was a wall there. And she went, oh my God. I'm like, and oh, by the way, there was also a fireplace where I told you there was one, remember? And she's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, but the easiest thing was, it was all on MLS. You just had to pull it up. But it's not taking the time.
Man.
They just want the dollar.
It's so hard to push that little mouse and just do a little research.
You know what it is? To sit there. Okay, you and I are going to do it because we respect our people that we work with, to take that little extra time to know what we're buying into and how we're going to sell that house. Had I not known about your house, about a lot of things, we could have just sold it and said things that later on, they will come back to us.
Right.
Okay. I can't tell you how many people said to me, oh, your cousin, he's a home inspector in California. I don't need to inspect this. I said, why? I said, do you think he flies home every year and just checks out this house? I said, so in California, I don't think he has snowstorms, right?
No.
So does he know about moss on this? I said, so do you think he's coming here and checking the roof for moss and checking the roof for this? And yeah, when he comes home, he'll check it, but he's not doing a home inspection. Why? Right. He's not selling it. He's selling it now. So
and I'm not licensed in New Hampshire to be a home inspector. So anyway, back to
it's crazy.
Back to what you and I do. My parent, I don't know if my parents did it or if your parents did it, but I have a hardcore work ethic built into me that I can't stop. And I've been like that since I was 16. Honestly, that's who you and I are. That's how we are. And I think that is what makes us do what we do, as far as, being due diligent and just, trying to tell people the facts and not bullshit them and stuff like that. And just say, look, this is a reality that you need to understand is going on. A lot of people I meet, I just don't think that they have that work ethic. And you're right. A lot of people are just looking at the paycheck at the end. But my logic on that is, what good is the paycheck if you can't keep it? What I mean is, so you just rush through a sale, you get your buyer found their house, great. Everything's closed. You got your check, you get your $30,000, whatever it is. And then a year later, you're getting sued. because you told your client not to do these certain inspections, and all of a sudden they're now realizing that you should have never told them that. And guess what? Now you're giving back that money that you already bought that new car with. So what's the point? I like to sleep good at night. I did my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told them what they need to know. It's up to them to run with it. You know, it's not my problem if they choose to just rip up my report and throw it away. But I know I did what I had to do, and I can document it. I've got it all backed up. So I'm not worried about anything coming back my way. But realtors, and I've had a realtor do this before on a house years ago. And basically I told her I found like 12, I think it was like 12 or 14 different areas of a house that had evidence of past moisture damage. And the house had been vacant for several years. And that to me is a red flag, because it's been vacant. Mm-hmm. And so all these stains might start coming back, and the leaks might be continuing if people move in and so forth. They ignored everything. The realtor told the client, don't worry about it. You can deal with that later. And then of course they found mold after they moved in, and then they tried to sue me for it. And basically I told them to beat sand. You know what I mean? It's like, it ain't happening because I told you everything, you ignored it and everything. So that's what happens. That's a reality. That can happen.
But once again, too, it's home inspectors that do it the proper way also, because not every home, you can get a home inspector that will run through a house in 15 minutes, or you can get one like my home inspector, which I believe you're the same exact way. Moisture control, they tell the numbers, they show everything in there. So it's not about the walls nice and pretty and they put kills on it. Oh, by the way, there's a leak behind this wall and let's try to find it. So it's a heads up to the seller also. So also tells the seller, if the agent, and I hear this and I cringe, I just told him to put kills on it and it'll just go away and be fine. No, we don't.
We don't put some bleach on it.
Here. Yeah, I'm like, come on, we don't just kills everything here. This isn't what we're doing. We're not trying to hide stuff. There's a big case in New Hampshire right now, and hopefully we see a lot more, because a lot of agents did a lot of things that shouldn't have happened.
You mean a lawsuit?
Oh, a nice big one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Glory days.
Tell me more.
List agent and buyer. Imagine they were together. So how it went out, they went down is, homes are crazy here, just like everywhere else. Many offers, listing got accepted by the buyer. Buyer did home inspection for the home inspector to tell them there was an issue with the back deck, and they needed to get it checked professionally.
Yep.
Whether they say the seller did it or not, they've got to get it checked if they go forward to this house, and to be very cautious with this house and don't go on it. That's what his recommendations, as you know, John, right at the bottom, these are my recommendations. List agent. So buyer called list agent and said, buyer agent said, this is what we need done, blah, 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 all this stuff. And list agent came back and said, oh yeah, no, seller says it's nothing wrong with it. They have already fixed it. Well, where's the documentation? Listen, let's just get this deal done. This is what the list agent, let's just get it done. Okay. You and I just get this done. Let's get it out. We can bang this out really quick. It's a good paycheck. Let's make this move. Okay. So she goes back and convinces buyers, don't worry. You can fix it after. No big deal. Seller said it's been taken care of. So come to fruition, what it is, they buy in the winter. As you know, in New England, for those of you who live in California, you see it on TV, we have nice big snowstorms. Went through winter, spring came, and when spring came, they decided, well, we're going to get people out here, contractors. So one contractor comes and said, the sheathing on the back, they never put the back of it, what do you call that? Help me out, John.
The flashing.
Flashing, never put it on.
Yep.
All this stuff. Amateur.
It's called.
We see this.
It's called ledger board flashing. It's where the either 2x6 or 2x8 or 2x10 mounts right to the wall of the house, and then it should be mounted right to the wood structure, and then the flashing should mount to the wood structure, come over the top of that ledger board, and go down like this. Then you put the siding over that. That's what that is,
gotcha.
and that's a one major area I even point that out here in California. We don't have as bad weather as you guys do, but it's really important on the East Coast. And when I used to live out there, I was in construction and I built a lot of decks, and every single one of my decks had that flashing installed because the water gets between that wood ledger board and the building, and it rots out the perimeter sill.
Yeah, that's what it did. So guess what? So first contractor came through, told them everything. They had 3 contractors lined up. Second one comes in the backyard and sees a new buyer there and says, "Oh, you're the new buyer?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I was out here last year telling him." He goes, "You gone about this deck?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, hopefully he fixed it or gave you money for it." He goes, "I could tell you without even looking." Told him how it was all rotted, got to come down, do the whole thing over, needs all wood on the outside of the house, everything right down. It was just destroyed.
Wow.
Yeah, needless to say, where did they go? They called their buyer agent and said, "Hey, did you know?" Buyer agent started wiggle worming because she calls list agent and goes, "We're in trouble that you made me."
He was doing the backstroke. They were doing the backstroke.
They're in court now. They went right to the board. So it's on a docket. And you know what? It's about time, because what happens, God forbid, had their children been out there,
and it collapsed.
Had that home inspector not told them, "Don't go out there"? Can you imagine what would have happened?
Sure.
I mean, a nightmare. And this is what's happening because everybody just wants a paycheck. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. Let me just get the fixes. Let me just get what I need to fix real quick, make my money. And, I don't want to go back and tell them they owe $10,000 on this thing. Let's just tell them to fix a washer, make them feel good. Can't do that. Or just skip the whole thing. I'm horrified.
There's some bullshit. Inspection? Yep, that's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, that's like having a fire down the road, calling a fire truck and having them come out without ladders or anything, and just watch the fire and say, "Yeah, we're just going to stay here and watch it till it burns because we know it's going to burn." So why don't you just buy a house so you can just live in it? It's amazing what people will do. And including, like I've said many times, agents also do it, and it's scary. And I've only been in it 7 years. It's not like I've been here 25 years doing this. 7 years, and I came in here. Why? Because I had a bad agent. Had a bad agent that didn't listen when I was selling a condo in Drake. Just a really bad, crappy agent.
And that's what got me a favor. And that's what got you into real estate. You know, it's funny. Well, I had another realtor on my podcast, Sona Gallatin, and she had a similar story.
Yep. Yeah, no. She was telling me, and then I started looking up, and then I said, "You know what? I'm just going to go to school for this. I've always wanted to do it. Now's the time to do it." So called Caldwell Banker, went in there, went to school. I would challenge her, and I'd have...
What was the name of it?
I went to Caldwell Banker School.
Caldwell
Banker, Caldwell.
Coldwell?
The brokerage. You call it Coldwell.
No, I had to make fun of you there. That's the East Coast accent. Caldwell. Who?
There it is. Coldwell.
Coldwell. Cold, COLD.
Yeah. I do believe you have them out there.
I know you guys still have that problem saying car. It's car.
Yep, car.
Car.
Yeah, no.
I know.
Car. Parking my car.
So I goes over and says, "Hey." Man, when I first
my keys for my car.
Man, when I first moved here to Cali, I worked for a forklift service company, and I was in a van with a 2-way radio, and the dispatcher would always try to talk to me. "Call me on a landline, John," because we could not understand our accents. I couldn't get her what she was saying. She couldn't get me. Oh, it was so funny. I still remember that. That was a funny moment. So I got a couple questions I want to ask you here. Yeah. So we didn't finish up talking about the real estate transaction. So when we listed it, I think you had offers within 2 days, same day or something?
Oh no, same day. We had offers. I was literally at the house still doing showings, and we were getting offers.
And how many people showed up for the showings?
We had 122
Wow.
They made appointments with me, 122. Then we had the open house on Saturday. We had to shut down Sunday. We ended up having, it was like on Saturday, outside of just the regular listing people, we ended up getting another 24 people coming through.
Wow.
That could get in. Because remember, we have tenants, and tenants have the rights. And I must say, because we were really good with these tenants, and I explained to them, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep them there, but they got to work with me. Yeah. They got to let me in, because a tenant in New Hampshire or Mass that says no, it means no. If they say you're not coming in, I'm not going in. We were told for one of the tenants we couldn't take pictures. And I remember you were like, oh, we need pictures. I said, don't worry, we'll get pictures. We'll do something. But I basically went to her and said, listen, I have no pictures. I said, and John and I are trying to help you stay here. So if you want to help us stay here, you now got to physically let me in your house so I can show these people.
Right.
So let's just work this. And I must say she did. It was terrific. She took both days. She made sure she was there. I worked my whole schedule around both of them. The guy upstairs was great. He was gone to work. He let me in. He gave me a key, so he didn't worry about it because he knew I was in that house all the time with the people. They're never strolling around. I basically did it. At the end, people were saying, were you ever a tour guide? I never realized how much of a tour guide I am going through houses and how animated, but I guess I am. But once again, it comes down to knowing the house and making sure that we're selling the product the right way. And that's what it comes down to. Biggest investment these people are going to buy, and they better know what they're buying.
Well, now we know what you'll be doing when you retire. Now you'll be doing you'll be a tour guide at a home remodeling museum or something.
No.
Night at the museum,
No. I'm going to be out in Arizona. Nice weather, no winters.
Yeah.
I could drive to you, John. I can come and see you now.
Just bring your shots.
Bring my shots.
When I talk to my dad, I'm like, hey, Dad, is it hot over there? It's hot. It's hot. I'm like, oh, it's hot? H-U-T or H-O-T? It's hot. So what are you wearing? I'm wearing my shots.
Shots.
So did you say shots? He's so funny. Anyway, so so the company you're with now is East Key Realty?
Yes, East Key Realty I'm with now. Much better pay structure.
Good.
So that's at the end of the day, I worked my tail off.
Yeah.
And you pay these brokers a lot of fees. And why? Because they have the name. But the name really, as an agent, what you have to understand, which we get drilled in our head, is that you need a broker to get leads to all this stuff. Your name does it. If you do this correctly, you will get the referrals, you'll make the business. Yep. And it just works. That's the whole thing. And I mean, I must say, I did have a lot of fun selling your house. It was great to see as many people that came through. And then we had to shut it off on Sunday because we were up to 28 offers. You hear these agents, oh, I want to get all these offers so I can have my clients look at it. You'll be the first to tell them, being a homeowner, trying to figure out, they all mesh together after a while.
Yeah.
When I send them to you, you were like, oh, God. I had my ducks in my row and I had everything there and he understood where it was coming from. But trying to read those over and understanding the technology of what was written in there, because how an agent can make the same offer.
Read between the lines. Yeah, you were very good at reading between the lines and explaining that. And that's it's all a play of words. Like any contract you read, it's a play of words. And these are basically contracts. They're making you an offer. And this is what they want you to do. And a lot of those offers we got, I think the person writing them forgot that there was a seller's market, not a buyer's market.
Yes.
And they were asking for stupid shit. And I'm like, no, next. And then the guy that finally comes up with the most expensive offer reneges on a cash deal as soon as we accept it. And that just rubbed me the wrong way. And then he asked for a credit back because of some supposed floor support that would have taken any knucklehead an hour to fix for $5,000. He wanted $5,000 out of me. I'm like, nope. next. And I knew that if I had like, agreed to that, I guarantee you, even to this day, that he would have pulled another stunt along the way to find another way to try to get the place cheaper. I just had that feeling about this guy. So I was like, you know what, get rid of him. And then you had the second backup offer all ready to go. And we just went with that. And I was totally fine with it. It was a little bit less, but I didn't care. It was a simpler transaction. And I think,
But I think at the end of the day, me explaining the whole process of why, because you were at first like, why do I want this? Why do I want to understand? Just tell me what I need. And I said to you right away, no, I don't tell you, I teach you. You understood looking at all the offers at the end of the day. Yeah, a lot of them were in the same group.
Yeah.
So we could funnel through those. The ones that were really good, read in between the lines of what they want and how they want it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is you took less because we could have went to another one. You went down another level, which you lost about 15,000.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
But by doing that, the reason why you did it, which impressed me, one of the biggest things is your exact words were, Sue, you work so hard to keep the tenants here, and these people are keeping them.
Yeah.
And that meant something to me because that's something I did work. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to still sleep at night because I tried my darndest to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a seller's choice. And that right there showed me that you respected me enough to go, okay, I know I'm walking away from this amount of money, but I'm willing to do it to know that these two have it. And then I had to save the tenant upstairs because he thought he knew better than the landlord.
Yeah.
Remember this one? That was like,
that
was great.
Yeah, I'm not a greedy guy. No. I like money like anybody else, but sometimes you have to kind of weigh the scale and just go, do I want to have a headache dealing with this person? That means I'm allowing it to happen, and I know better. Just dealing with certain people, and I didn't even meet the guy. I'm only going by what you were telling me about him, what they offered, what their offer was, and I think you mentioned to me some of the comments he made to the tenants when he was there. And I can say, oh, this guy's just a pompous ass, probably. I don't want him being there. Then I actually said to myself, I don't think I want that guy to be their landlord if I have control over that, which I did at the time. And I think, you know what, I do have some compassion. I'm not a pushover. I'm not a doormat, but I just thought it was best for everybody, myself included, tenants, you, everybody. In the whole picture of it was just to get past that person and just go to the next one. Because right away he says, "Oh, it's a cash offer," and then the next day he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my loan." What are you talking about a loan? You just say you just agreed to a cash offer. It was in your proposal. Idiot.
Yeah, we took that away, didn't we?
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was working with that night, calling me, the agent. And I'm like, I need to see his funds. And she fell for it and gave it to me. So when they called back the next day, remember I said, I got funds right here. Show that it's here. Nope, you're still a cash offer because my seller's not going to let you get a loan. Right. I think that rubbed him. But once again, it's an agent that didn't do her job, because had she done her job, she wouldn't have sent that to me. And I would have had nothing to go back to.
Right.
But I think, it just comes down to the spectrum of just respecting people. And that's what you did. You respected your tenants. Even though they weren't going to be yours anymore, you respected them to keep it, because you said to me several times, if I can't save them, it's okay. I have to, but I tried everything. But I'm trying because the market that's out here. Let's face it, rents are as crazy as they come. These guys were not going to be getting... I had them already understanding that their rent was going up significantly. It did go up, not significant.
And they went into shock. And I think we had to revive them. Go.
I was there. And what agent? I'm the list agent, and both of them needed me there with them. Now I could have just said, it's not me. Just go along with the buyer's agent. No, I was there, and I explained to them, we had a trust, all of us. It was a package deal. And I think that's where it comes. And that's when at the end of the day, you and I can sleep and know that we've done everything in the power. They never lost their home. They still can live there. And it's their choice if they don't want to pay the rent and they want to leave to go to somewhere else.
Right. Here's something else I want to point out too about the two tenants. You know, one of them I felt almost related to. She's been in that property. Was it over 20 years, right?
25 years.
25 years. That tenant was there for 25 years. So that's her home.
Yep.
You know, that was her home. Yeah. And the upstairs tenant, he wasn't there quite as long as her. And I mean, not even close, but
5 years.
He had ties to the park. Mm-hmm. His I guess the baseball park right down on the corner there. Is it a baseball park?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a baseball park, and I guess one of his relatives, it was named after him.
Named after.
So
which his porch looks right at the park. The deck off the house looks right at the field. Yeah. So
it's kind of like there's some roots there. You know, everybody involved had roots there. You know, including let's go back in time. My brothers had bought that house initially, and then one brother sold it to the other. So Lenny and Lou owned it, and then Lenny sold his share to Lou. So Lou became the owner.
And Lou brought in the tenant downstairs.
Yep, Lou brought in a tenant downstairs. Yep. And Lou was a little sad when I told him I was selling it. He goes, John, I actually feel a little sad. I said, you know what, Lou? So do I. But I'm just looking at down the road. This is not going to be a good thing for me to hang on to. And right now, because I remember when I first took over that house, it was 40,000 under, and I took that chance. I took that gamble, you know. So, but I didn't want my dad to get kicked out, so I took over for him and helped him kept paying the mortgage to help him stay there for free. So I did my best to help him out, and it just worked out good for everybody in the long run. But
it's
yes,
been in the family for a long time.
And then my dad, that's what I was going to say. So then Louis owned it, brought in the downstairs tenant when he lived upstairs, and then he wound up moving, and then I rented the upstairs. I used to live up there before it was remodeled, and it was a shithole.
It was, and selling it made it harder because, like, when I was selling it, I was saying, okay, it's a family-owned home. It started with my cousins.
Yeah.
And I went through that whole structure, so they understood where it was coming from. And then I said, and the first tenant downstairs, it's like kicking my mother out. I can't kick her out. It's like, when we talked about it and I said, we can't go into evictions, we put that in our offer to make sure in the listing that they understood we would not be evicting anybody because you and I could not.
Yeah.
There was no way you weren't going to get on the phone and call her and tell us.
It's not something I wanted to do. No.
And
I actually offered the downstairs tenant to purchase it. I said,
yes, we've
talked about this in the past. I remember you telling me your son wanted to hear from me if I was ever thinking about selling. And at the time I was like, it's not even a possibility. So I went to her. I said, here's your chance. And my son says it ain't worth that much. And little did she know it sold for a lot more.
Significantly.
Yeah, a lot more than that. So
yeah, on that price, when I first told you I was going to list it for you, were like, are you sure? We should probably go less. I'm like, no, John, we're fine. And
so I called you.
I could still hear you. Are you absolutely? I said, John, why am I going to give you this number? I said, if I really wanted to go higher, I could. You were like, oh, no.
No, I know why. I know I had some doubt, and I'll tell you why. I had a little doubt because a couple of years back, maybe 4 years ago, I think it might have been, that I wanted to try and refinance it. So I needed an appraisal, and that appraisal came in way low. Remember?
Yeah, but it's just because
But that's why I had the doubt. That's why I had the doubt. That was the only reason.
Yeah. Oh, I knew you because you said to me, I'm not doubting you. I'm just afraid we're going to sit here. And I said, what did I say to you? I can guarantee you that you will get over 4.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you. And I remember you saying, oh, come on. And I'm like, okay, John. And when the first offer came in, what'd you say? Holy shit, Sue.
I think we should have went higher.
Stay calm. I said, stay calm. We got this together.
Don't panic.
And when it kept coming in, you were just, I kind of wish some of them I would have FaceTimed you because your voice said it to me. But God, I would have loved to see your face go, huh? I just like, and I made a point to make sure I was on the phone with you when I sent you the totals.
Right.
And you saw the offer because I wanted to hear the breath coming out of you. Like, really? and then you got a little greedy there because you become like a seller. And remember, you said to me, well, I want this total. And I'm like, all right, John, listen, we can't go crazy here.
You got me too excited.
You're like, no. You're like, I gotta go. I'm like, no, you're not gonna go there. But and then it all came down to appraisal and everything. And I was confident because walking in with my documentation, what did I tell you? You said to me, how are you going to make this work? Oh, don't worry, John. He already has all the documents. I walked in. You were sweating bullets. And appraisal came and went. And we got exactly what it was because I proved to him that there were houses that sold for more that were junk compared to what we had. Mm-hmm. And, that's when it comes down to agents of understanding what the market is, how it works, understanding what your seller needs, and not being afraid to talk to an appraiser because we're always taught not to talk to them, let them do their job. But I'll tell you right now, in Nashua, these appraisers, there's many of them that I deal with out there, and they say, Sue, just give me your packet. I love it.
Well, there was a problem I had, and towards the end, when everything was all agreed to and everything was signed, we still had to go through the escrow process. And then there was this thing about the appraisal, and I couldn't get you to tell me how much the final price was going to be. And you told me because in New Hampshire, you're not whoever pays for the appraisal like owns that knowledge and can't share it or won't share it. They can or they can't.
Mm-hmm. They can, but they have to give you permission. They're the ones that have to tell you what the total is. And they were not willing to tell us, but you were phrasing it wrong also.
Oh, was I?
So you were asking me what the appraisal price was, and I was giving you the legal terms that we couldn't until you got upset and you're like, I'm not signing. And I said, what do you mean you're not signing? Don't get ludicrous on me now. And you're like, I'm signing for the dollar amount. I'm like, dude, okay, so do you want to know the sale price? Or do you want to know the appraisal price? And what did John say to me? I just need to know what I'm signing for. I said, all right, here's your price. And I told you, and you went, oh, okay, I'll sign. And I'm like, so this whole time, you really wanted to know
there was a miscommunication there. And I was asking a question, and I wasn't getting the answer to that question. And it turns out I might have been asking you the wrong question, which is why you couldn't answer it.
Yes, because I can't tell you the appraisal price. And I did go to her several times.
Right.
And ask her.
Now, if I had known that, I'd have split the cost of the appraisal with them. And we both could have known that information. I'd had no problem with that. There's only a few $100.
A lot of times they won't do it because they feel like that's the only upper hand over you. It's not much. Trust me. It's not much at the end of the day. Because if they got a lot, they would have told us. They would have been bragging like, look at me.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, no. And that's what I kept trying to tell you, and just steadfast that if it was a problem, he would have come back immediately. And like I told you that day that I met him at the house, I would have known instantaneously right then and there, we're going to have a problem with him getting to the numbers. But he didn't even balk at anything. I gave it to him and he's like, you're good. Don't worry.
Okay. And well, see, you were comfortable with that. I wasn't.
No. Why? Because you're the seller. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get real. It comes back to it again. You're the seller. I'm the agent. So I'm doing my job knowing we're okay because I understand the process. You're the seller. You don't understand it. Just like when you're doing your home inspections and you're telling people, do this, this, or this, it's okay. To a buyer, that's scary because do I really just want to trust this guy? Because that's your job.
You being the bulldog that you are, you kept me in line.
Yes, I did.
And I thank you for that because if you were a weaker person or a weaker realtor who is just lets people give them shit and make them do stuff they shouldn't be doing, well then my transaction could have went very badly.
Oh, it could have blown up. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have been on the phone with an attorney and
Yeah.
saying I was harassing a buyer's agent to get a total.
Right.
I mean, and it all comes down to just understanding. And that's what I kept saying to you. Explain to me what you're looking for. Because when I made you come back to me and function and get back to me, get the anger, you got it. You can explain it because you know it, because you're frustrated. You're like, what the heck is her problem? I'm freaking explaining it to her. She doesn't understand. She's like a ludicrous. What the hell's your problem, Sue? And you're like yelling at me, and I'm going, all right, John, let's
knock it off.
Come on. Come back to New England, John.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a few other questions here. So what kind of a message would you convey to somebody who's about to get into that wants to be a realtor in your area? What advice would you give them?
I'm guiding two people right now, but the best advice that I give them is when you are out searching for a broker, okay? A broker is the real estate company you're going to be working for.
And representing.
And they're gonna work for you because you're carrying their name, they're carrying your name. You know what? Going here into these brokerages, too many times you hear, oh, I know so-and-so here. No, you go and you interview that broker just like they're interviewing you. You have to take this serious. You've got to not only know what you're going into, that person that's been with the company might be making X amount of dollars. Oh, guess what? You're going to make peanuts. You're going to be mad. Things are going to happen. You're not getting the same deals. It just becomes mayhem. You got to know about that manager sitting at the desk. Are they a working manager or are they just a manager? And when I say just a manager, that means a manager that has had high sales, but they're no longer servicing the selling and listing side. That's what you want. Okay? That manager you can go to. And this is why I left my previous, because your deal, I was talking to my manager that wasn't a working manager, but that converted back into it because the market changed. And guess what, John? She had all the information on your home. Okay. And then she brought a buyer in.
Okay. Oh, that's
Did I ever tell you this?
Up.
No, I didn't.
Dude, that is...
Okay, I never told you.
No.
See how I can keep secrets and really know what's going on?
Shit.
So I was juggling that. Now imagine she's calling me going, why aren't you taking my offer? Why aren't you taking my offer? Why aren't you taking my offer? And I'm going, because I got a lot of appointments. See, she knew what we were going for. Okay. As a new agent, the trust factor that you come into that is I can trust you. I'm going to tell you because you're going to help me because you've been in this business for 25 years. I'm just starting out. But guess what? If they use it against you, if I was not seasoned, you and I would have fell to that circumstance and they would have been laughing at us.
Wow.
At the end of the day. And that's and I never told you. So there's a lot of things that happen in a transaction. You never go back to that seller because why do I want to tell you that? You're going to go, oh, they're going to screw me now. You wouldn't have trusted me with her.
Right.
Okay.
It's bias.
And yet alone, you would have been like, oh my God, your company has my information.
That is totally biased right there. That is just like,
exactly.
Wow. So that's a common thing that happens.
That's very common. So out here, understanding what it is and understanding what you're coming into.
That's like insider trading. That's like insider trading.
And you never heard that before, did you?
No.
No one's ever told you.
No.
But you know what? If you have a good agent, they're going to share that with you. They're going to make sure you understand. They're going to make sure you know what's going on. You have to understand what a broker has in giving to you.
And you left that broker, right?
I left the broker.
Good.
Yeah, it's different, different reasons and things like that. But it was a very, very, it was a tough lesson because when someone flips on you and all of a sudden they're using it against you, it's like, holy smokes, I wasn't prepared for that.
That's called deceit. That's called deceit. And deceit is a very, very rough thing for anyone to deal with. That's rough.
And I had 3 people in my office have an offer on our table. 3. And one of them went back. She told me, and I couldn't say anything. And she said, oh, I talked to so-and-so, and that's the manager. And I went, oh, maybe you shouldn't. But I can't say, hey, don't do that. She's got an offer in too. But the person never told her. So how do you think I felt? Once again, I went, what a betrayal. Because to me, you should have said, hey, by the way, I have an offer, so don't tell me. So she knew what her offer was in for, yet she came back and changed her offer with us again, unbeknownst to us until after the fact. You don't think that was another kick in the chops? I was trying to keep everything in a pot for us to make sure nothing was bubbling out.
Did you flip her the bird on the way out?
No. Because you know why? You never mean, because
you'll be dealing with her again. Side. You guys will be dealing with each other. I guarantee it. Yep. You will, because you're in the real estate business.
She's a great manager. She was a great manager, a great person. Choices you make, unfortunately, sometimes come back to haunt you.
She forgot about that line in the sand that you're not supposed to cross.
Yeah. And it was hard. Like, to me, I felt she should have sent someone else in as an agent versus her, because she had my information.
Yep.
Whether she was telling him and not, and she tells us that she's not going to, you just don't know. You don't know. And so as a newbie, you got to know where you're going. Make sure you're just not going to a broker because your friend is there.
Right. Right. Like I mentioned earlier,
we have brokers.
Yeah, just you gotta really interview people. The world's changed. Yes. Used to be you interview employees. You need to interview your people you want to work for. What are you offering me? You really need to ask those questions, and don't forget to ask how much you're getting paid before you sign.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: if you're a realtor and you're a licensed realtor, and you go to a broker, you have to enter into a contract with them.
Correct.
Oh, you do? Okay.
You're in a contract. So I have been offered, so you have contracts plus you have bonuses. Okay. So sometimes they give you a bonus and you tell people, I got a bonus of this amount of money. And you're like, great, because you're locked in there, because they're going to take that back from you. So if something happens with that broker, you're mainly stuck there for a year. So think about the consequence that could have happened to us if I was stuck there for a year longer.
Is that a signing bonus you're talking about?
Yes. There's some people that do signing. I've refused them. I don't want any signing. I don't, you know what? I'm going in clean. I'm working for what I have. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Yeah. You sit here and people are like, brokers, you got a lot of leads. They go Zillow. They do different things. You're paying for that at the end of the day.
Right.
Why don't you just do it yourself? Get your name out there. Work as hard as you can work to get your name out there and make the money you're making.
Yep.
Place I'm with now, I pay nothing. I'm going to tell you, next to nothing for fees. I left there to go the broker I was when I had with you, because I thought maybe it's just I was making really great money, but I thought I was messing up, because it was too good to be true. Found out, made a big mistake, get back there. So that's what I did. So that's why I'm back with East Key Realty. Great company, great owner. She's basically out here. Her grandmother was in the business, and she's also been in the business. She was out in Las Vegas for over 12 years, and she came back home. And she started here, and she started for all of us as agents to make the money that we need to make out here, because we're working the hardest for it, not the broker. So she's not making the cream of the crop like the other places are, but I'll tell you, she's making it because she's feeding us to make sure we are getting what we're valued at. And I know when I call her, I can talk to her, and it's not ever going to be held against me, and she's not going to bring someone in. I know that. I've already experienced it with her.
That's good.
She sent another agent. And she never told the agent anything. And that's important.
So is a signing,
those are the things.
Is a signing bonus a common thing for someone to, like, a broker maybe heard of you before? Hey, she's a high volume, like she's really good at her job. So if maybe they throw you a carrot and say, hey, you want to come work with us? Yeah, here's a signing bonus. But what you're saying is, I think, is the signing bonus, you have to be there for at least a year.
Some of them a year. Some of them you have to make dollar amounts, volume amounts.
Okay.
You got to be very careful, but they'll throw this. Oh, I'll give you $5,000 to come with me. Think about this. You have no business, or you're low on your business numbers right now, or what have not.
Sure.
Or even if you're sky high and you're going, someone throwing extra money at you, no one gives you anything for free. Let's look at this. I've always been taught that. So when it was first offered me, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No one's just going to hand me money just to be able to do something. What's the tagline? What is this connected to? How do you get it? You know what? Ask the questions. How come the broker can ask us questions? How come people can ask us questions?
Right.
But an agent feels they can't ask a broker. Why? You're making the broker money.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to say no to the broker and go on to do something else. I mean, that it just comes down to you got to know what's out here and understand why they're doing the tactics.
Let me share a little life experience with everybody that we're talking to right now, because before you get into any business, it doesn't matter what it is, what occupation you're talking about. If you are offered a deal, your very first deal, like someone says, I'm going to offer you a contract to work here for 3 years. I'm going to offer you this much money. I'm going to offer you this, and this. Trust me, your eyes are going to go, wow, this guy just offered me, this woman just offered me all this money and all this ability and this opportunity. That doesn't mean it's a good deal. That's the tough part. How to get through your first deal. And I learned this years ago in other businesses. It's like I had all these people offer me this. I'm like, then a week later, I get this offer and I get that offer. And I'm like, wow, they're all coming in about the same amount of money. So what's going on here? So if somebody throws you like right out of the gate, here's $5,000 to come with me, or here's $10,000. Well, if they're anxious to throw out $5,000 or $10,000, who's to say the next guy won't offer you 20? And guess who just had a comment on this? I'm going to say a recent comment, but I just recently saw a video. And I believe it was LeBron James. He was one of his first deals, and he was offered all kinds of like millions of dollars, and he said no because he thought that same way. He must have had some experience, or someone educated him and said, "Hey, look, trust me, the other guys will probably off double that." So I recently watched a video, I believe it was on YouTube or something, and that's a fact. So when you come into your first deal, it's going to be a wow moment for you, and that's great. It's an awesome feeling, like wow, somebody really wants you to be with them and work with them, and it's going to change your life. Basically, this first deal is probably going to be very substantial financially, and it's that one acceptance could just change your life. Like you could go from the 1-bedroom apartment to the 3-bedroom house overnight. That's the kind of money you're talking about. But what I'm trying to say is you really got to look into exactly what it means and read between the lines. Don't be in a rush to sign just because they took you to a fancy dinner. Think about it. Go home, sleep on it, think about it, and just ask questions. And if they can't answer those questions, like for example, if you say, "So I'm going to get a monthly reporting from you on, an official accounting of my money coming in, money going out," and they say, "Well, no, we don't do that. We don't share those things." Well, then you need to run, because if there's not full disclosure on finances in any business, you need to run. If anyone says to you, "Oh, that's just too much work for the accountant to give you a copy of that," you need to run. And I don't care what anyone says, you need to run, because that's somebody already from the get-go trying to screw you over financially, and by not giving you all the facts and all the numbers. That's my advice to anybody going into any business. And I am talking from experience. I've had great deals, I've had bad deals, and I learned, and I always absorbed all that information and learned from it. So the next one I went into, I knew exactly what to ask. And as soon as I got a little pushback on certain areas, see ya, I was running away. Next. And that's just how you have to look at it. So remember, just because it's your first deal does not mean it is a good deal. There may be something better out there. So don't let desperation, don't be desperate to just jump on the first one. Just think about it.
And don't show the desperation.
Yeah.
Don't ever. I'll tell you, my mother taught us something very early on, and my parents lived by this. If you're in debt, don't ever tell your employer you're in debt. Don't ever tell them you need that job. Once you tell them or tell someone you need them, they will drive you down to that ground and spit you out and have no respect for you because they know you can't leave.
Yep.
But if you show, okay, you know what? I'll walk right out of here right now. Can't afford it, but you know what? In your mind, you're saying that. Don't ever show your deck of cards.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be smart at this. And I'll tell you, going back to my very first time, you want to laugh. Back at Codwell Banker. That's where I started.
They have a lot of cods over there, and there's a lot of codfish over there. So they call it
Codwell Banker.
Codwell.
I'll tell you, my manager was incredible, okay? Because she didn't sleep nights when I did my first transaction. Because here's Sue. I absorb everything and I take everything. I learn a lesson from it. There's always a lesson to learn. And boy, did I learn one here. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you real quick. So when you go in and you are placing an offer, in my first transaction, I have a multifamily. And I got these big numbers and I'm got it all down and I know what they have to put down. And I said to them, okay, you're putting, X amount of dollars down. So you need to put that down for them, the good faith. We call it a good faith check. And they're like, okay, so they get it out of their 401k and they slap over $75,000 and I pay it and I do everything and I get it down and I think I'm doing great and I'm doing everything. And my manager every day, she's asking me, how's it going with that deal? Oh, it's going great. No problems, doing all this stuff. Had a few hiccups, but I maneuvered it. The very end, John, I sat down after I closed it with my manager and I said, okay, we're all done. Here's all the papers. And she helped me through this and everything. And she looked at me, she goes, Sue, I am going to sleep so damn good tonight. I said, why? I said, what's the matter? You didn't have any, you doubt me? And she said, God, no, I didn't doubt you. She goes, but I love the process out of you. I said, what did I do wrong? She goes, all right, when they tell you the down payment, don't ever give it as a good faith check. You could have lost $75,000 on them. I went, what are you talking about? And she says, the amount of money, the escrow money that you have in there, had they decided to walk away for something stupid, the seller could have kept that money. I went, oh my God. Well, do you think I slept good that night? Hell no. I was like, what? I said to her, okay, regroup. Tell me what I did wrong. Have me understand. I wrote it all down and I've never made that mistake again. But you know what? It's the best lesson that I've learned. Okay. Yeah. We have all done this. And that's what I'm just telling people. It's okay to make a mistake. Yeah. As long as at the end of the day, no one dies and no one loses money.
Right.
We're all good.
Right.
You can fix something. You don't have to go off flying off the handles and throw someone out.
And you're in the sales market. So sales, man, I could not do sales. I am just not the person cut out for that. I forget it. I've customers call me. So, the other company I called, they said they do this. And, well, that's great. You should go with them. That's my answer. Because you don't offer any other. Well, sir, I do offer other services, but it sounds to me like you're just looking for the lowest guy. And I'm not really here to sell you anything. I just offer a service. That's why you called me. And these are the services I offer, yet you're trying to compare me to somebody else that I don't even know. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. So these are my prices. This is what I offer. I'd be more than happy to take care of your inspections for you, but I'm not here to try to sell you something. I don't want to sell you anything. I'm just telling you what I offer. So I just don't like doing sales. I don't care if they hang up. I just don't, because the phone will ring again. It's
right.
The volume out here is so much. There's so much volume here. I'm not worried about losing a couple phone calls a week. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt my bottom end or anything like that. So you being in sales, I'm not even in sales, but I would tell my advice to someone who wants to be a realtor in the sales business is to make sure, just because you get 3 deals in ink and they're all moving along pretty smoothly, don't go buy that new car until you've closed those deals, because you're in the sales business anything can go wrong. And that money, that imaginary $20,000 you thought you were going to have at the end of June, all of a sudden went poof, and it's no longer there. It went poof. I don't have a poof special effects over here, so I'm just going to go. That's all I got. So that money is not coming. So this is something you really have to, I don't know, I would say your first couple transactions, bank that money. You have to build a cushion if you're going to be in the sales business. You have financially to become financially stable in that industry. And especially just because you're starting, you really need to watch your spending. And unless you have a rich father at home or a rich husband that's just going to let you do what you want and make all the mistakes and just keep paying all your bills for you, great. But if you don't have that option, you need to really be tight with your money on your first couple transactions and put that money away and just leave it there for cushion, and then keep hustling. Because if you are not a hustler in the sales business, you are going to fail, and you're going to fail miserably, and you are going to hate it, and you're going to blame everybody but yourself. That's a fact. Yep. That's a fact. You're going to blame everybody but yourself for not getting out there and doing that extra work and driving that extra 10 miles to that next house. Or I'm not available today because it's Sunday. Bullshit. You're in the sales business. You're available 24 hours a day, whether you like it or not.
7 days a week.
Until you build your base, and then you can kind of lean back a little bit. But you've got to hustle.
The other thing too, you got to take 10% out. So when you start this business, you take 10% out, you put it into a savings account, you call it taxes. Okay? Call it taxes, because let me tell you, when you find out what you got to pay at the end, a lot of realtors do not understand this. So I take 10% out, goes into an account for taxes. I take another 10%, goes out for advertising. I put money into a savings account, you have your pensions, and then you have your money that goes into your checking account.
Yep.
Okay? Every single one, you have to control this. You are your employer, okay? There's no one else taking care of your funds. You are your employer. When you come to tax time, I can't tell you how many times I've gone there. And, 2 years ago, I did really unbelievably. I had put in $25,000 just in taxes, because you have to put it in quarterlies. And then all of a sudden, when I go to do my taxes, they're like, "Oh, you owe another $30,000." And my husband looks at me and goes, "Please tell me." I said, "Come to Jesus. I have the money. Don't worry." Wrote it up. Off it went. But had I not been disciplined, guess what? Where are you going to go? You're going to get a loan. So you're going to keep getting a loan, and then you're going to have to keep paying it.
Interest.
You got to be smart at this, because I see. Yeah. Do you know how many realtors ever think about this, John? You have a realtor. Okay. They're 70 years old. They're 80 years old. Why are they working? You know why they're working? Because they got a lot of bling on their fingers, and they're driving the best car out there, and they never knew how to save. And when retirement came, they went, "Oh, I can't retire. I got to work till I die."
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, my goal is to retire at 62. Okay. Come hell or high water, I'm going to try. I'm going to do it. Okay. But the bottom line is, there is no way I'm going to be out there at 70 years old selling a house. Absolutely not. It's not happening. Yeah. I'm not doing it, because you didn't live right. And you gotta know what you're doing when you're in business for yourself, because every realtor is in business for themselves. You've got to understand the business world and the business model. And that's where people don't understand it.
Well, there's this term sustainability. And the best way to describe that is, well, first of all, you're in sales. That's risky enough as far as steady income coming in. That's just a risky proposition, for any business. Now, the economy changes. Things change, especially the real estate industry. It goes up, it goes down. It's a roller coaster. And what's it going to be, like 5 to 7 years for the next one to come up or down? Is that typically the average, around 5 or 7 years? I think it's about every 7 years, or maybe 10 years or so.
Yeah, everything, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's going to go like this. And when it's at its high, you may be rolling in cash. You might be a little, and too indulgent, and you kind of buying everything. You got 5 cars, gold watches, all that good shit. Yeah, you get the best clothing, you're eating at the finest restaurants, and you're not thinking about, what happens when shit goes bad, when that roller coaster starts going down. And this is just life advice for anybody. I mean, you don't know this until you're older. Like, I'm older, so I get it. I see where I spent money, blew money, made money, lost it again, came back. That's just life. Nothing's going to be like this, unless you just happen to be very lucky and super, super rich. So you really got to keep that in mind. And, saving money, having cushion is the best feeling in the world. That's called fuck you money. Anybody would tell you that. Because if you have a whole pile of fuck you money, and then you have a boss who just turns into a raging asshole for some reason, or the people, your coworkers suck, you can just leave, because you have a whole bunch of fuck you money where you can just kick back, wait for the next good offer to come along. It could be 3-6 months. If you save enough and that shit happens, you're in control of what you do. When you don't save that money, you're going to be miserable, because you have to stay there, and you have to put up with that idiot of a boss or those coworkers who drive you crazy. So you are really, really just limiting what you can do. So save your money, have a really good cushion, so that you can do what you want to do and dictate your own future. Don't let other people dictate your future, because basically being in real estate, you're working for yourself. You're just under a broker's umbrella, but you're basically self-employed. Is that how you do your taxes? Self-employed?
Correct.
Yeah.
1099.
Sure. So 1099, everybody, in case you don't know, means you are responsible for paying all your taxes. That's what it means. No one's giving you a paycheck with the taxes already taken out, in other words. You're just going to get a lump check, and it's up to you to separate how much of that lump check is for taxes and how much is not. Because there's a couple things in life that are inevitable. That's called taxes and death. And that's the reality. So if you're really young and you're thinking about getting a real estate business, just remember, it's a sales-based business. It's tough. You got to fight through it, get established, and save your money, and you'll be good. I think it's a great career choice. But you got to understand that you got to work.
Yeah, it's you have to work. It's not, a lot of people come in here, it's like a car dealership. There's no one, you're not sitting at a desk, having the door open and someone walking in. You have got to hit the pavement. Yep. You got to get out there. You have to be known. Your face has to be on bulletins. Your face, right. And we're paying for that. All that advertisement that you see agents out there, hearing them on radio stations. Some of them, they've got it. They got big, huge teams. They're just rolling in the money. You're not going to have them. You're going to have the teammates. So pay attention to that also. Make sure when you're working, one of the things I always ask when I go in for a listing appointment, and they say, you know what, you're one of the 3, I say, great. Can you do me a favor? Can you just make sure when you talk to the other 2, make sure you're working, that they're going to be working for you, not the team is working for you. Do you know if they're going to be here at the open house? And they always go, I don't know. Better ask them that question, because I'm going to be here. Yeah. See, you got to be aggressive at this, and you got to tell people. If you don't tell them, and a lot of people say to me, well, I don't want to say that because then they're going to know. You want them to know. How do you think you get it? Because I'm the one that's going to be there. You're telling me. I'm telling them. That's what you want. This is something you need to learn. This is not a car dealership. It's not things like that. We're not sitting and just, phone ringing off the hook and answering it. You're hustling. You're out there. Yeah. You have to. And I think that's something that was driven in me by both my parents. If you want it, you got to go get it. It's not going to fall on your lap. Yeah.
I think,
and I watched my parents
on going on, piggyback on what you're saying there is, I think when I go to work every day, just inspecting houses, and I see the buyer's agent and the listing agent show up, and the listing agent's there mostly just to make sure everything's open and we're good to go, and then they take off. That to me is awesome. I think that's a good thing because they're actually showing up to make sure everything's going to go forward. And they're showing their work ethic. I think when they show up and they unlock everything, make sure they ask me questions. Hey, John, what do you need? I said, just make sure I have access to the attic, make sure all the gates are unlocked around the house. If there's any dogs, I need them locked up in a room because I'm not coming on the property without it. And make sure there's no lock on the electrical panel that everybody forgot about because they put it there 5 years ago and never opened it, and just shit like that. Is the gas on onto the property? That I like to see with realtors. Now the buyer's agents, if they come and at least show up in the beginning and then say, hey, I got to run some errands, I got to do some other, I'll be back in 2 hours. Great. That's fantastic. But when these people don't show up at all, I just shake my head. I'm like, man, why did you pick this? I just want to say to my customers, why did you pick this realtor? Are they that busy where they can't service you? Don't forget, they're getting a fat fucking check when you buy this place. Yeah, I don't get that. That to me I see that a lot. And that bugs the shit out of me. But I got to zip it. I don't say nothing. I'm talking about it now, but I'm not generalizing the whole industry. I'm just saying they're out there, and I don't like seeing that. So how do you want to be found? Do you have a website?
All right. This is Sue Ducharme. Thank you so much for having me. You can reach me via my website at sueducharme.com.
How do you spell
my
Ducharme?
My phone number is Ducharme.
There you go.
My phone number is 978-337-2586. Or you can reach me at sueducharme@eastkeyrealty.com.
Awesome.
Feel free to reach out with any questions, buyers, sellers, or if you just have information that you need answered. And I would love to help you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again, cuz.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Just kick it around Sunday. Those are great conversation. I had a blast doing this. So I will talk to you soon and keep selling. Keep buying.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Later.
I'll talk to you. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay, just a friendly reminder. If you're buying a home, don't panic. Home Inspection Authority's got you covered. You can schedule us online by going to homeinspectionauthority.com 24/7, or you can call us at 800-950-8184. We offer general home inspections, mold inspections and testing, sewer camera inspections, indoor air quality testing, swimming pool and spa inspections, and light commercial inspections. We use specialized tools to provide the most thorough inspection possible, such as drone for roof inspections that are not accessible, crawlbot for under homes and tight crawl spaces to get to those areas otherwise not accessible, and we use thermal imaging technology as well. So give us a call at 800-950-8184. Like I said, you can schedule online at homeinspectionauthority.com 24/7.